the ultimate 2020 student off, the long reigning king or the young pretender? Who comes out on top? Well, let's find out. So this is the MacBook Pro 13-inch base model versus the 11-inch iPad Pro. Let's chat some quick details. We don't need to discuss them too much. But the models that I've been using for the past 2 weeks are both starting at 256 gig. Both have Retina displays in their own right. Both connect through USB-C and cost roughly, with a keyboard, around $1,000 or £1,000. And that is pretty much where I would say the fundamentals end. Now, disclaimer, this is going to be a very subjective comparison, and I'm going to try and use my experience of being at university and what I would look for, but this is completely subjective to the course that you are doing. And I would definitely take that into consideration, but I'm hoping that, I don't know, I can try to give a good, well-rounded view of these computers. So let's start with the king, the granddaddy, El Jefe of student computers, which is the 13-inch MacBook Pro. So the MacBook Pro that I went to university with was the OG, the 13-inch MacBook Pro with that DVD drive, 500 gig hard drive, every single port under the sun, and pretty much the most robust computer possibly ever made. Now, the MacBook Pro 13-inch has probably taken some stick over the past few years. Pretty much plagued with the butterfly keyboard that the 15-inch MacBook Pro was as well. I don't think this was the easiest choice in the world for some time to go for being a student. So what was the go-to now takes a little bit of consideration and has gained some more competition. The great news is the 2020 model has pretty much made up most of the ground that the previous 3 or 4 years kind of lost. Fundamentally, this computer gets back to what made it great, which is a great keyboard. And yes, we still have that funny little touch bar at the top, but sometimes it does come in handy. But fundamentally, as a student, you'll be doing quite a lot of coursework and lots of typing and lots of browsing the internet for books and everything like that. And fundamentally, this keyboard is possibly one of the best you can get on the market today. Pretty much you need to be able to type on these things for hours and hours on end. And I know I did. My course was pretty much coursework. I needed a strong, reliable keyboard, which, you know, you don't want to get too tired typing after that amount of time. And fundamentally, I think Apple have got this keyboard nailed on. It is absolutely brilliant. In terms of the butterfly keyboard, it wasn't the best. It did break, it was unreliable. And can you imagine being halfway through your dissertation, having to go to an Apple store to get your computer replaced or the keys fixed? In terms of long-term reliability, well, I've only used this computer for a couple of weeks, but I've had absolutely no problems whatsoever. I didn't take it to a beach, so there was no sand getting trapped under the keyboard, but pretty much, I think, in a coffee shop, at university, and at home, you'll be absolutely fine using this. Another area you're going to want your computer to excel in is battery life. Now, Apple claim 10 hours of battery life out of this MacBook Pro, and while you're probably not going to get 10 hours of battery life in it, using things like Safari instead of Chrome and Microsoft Word and Pages, you are actually going to probably get maybe 8 or 9 hours battery life out of this machine if it's not too intensive what you're looking at. In terms of writing and typing and everything like that, I would actually say my time, even watching some YouTube videos and using Safari to do so, the actual battery life was really, really impressive, much better than what I was expecting. And while, again, I don't think you're going to get that claimed 10 hours, will you get through an entire day of lectures? Well, yeah, I think you will. Now, an area that some university students might not find that important, but some may, it's its ability to use pro apps and how well it performs. Now, to compare this to some of the machines that I've recently used, including the new 27-inch iMac, would be totally unfair on this MacBook Pro. But actually, comparing its performance, especially through Final Cut Pro and Lightroom, it dealt just as well as my older 15-inch MacBook Pro. I don't know if it's some of the settings and proxies that they have now done in Final Cut Pro, but this thing blazed through doing the iPad Pro review that I recently did. One area that you will see that kind of slow down is because it doesn't have a dedicated graphics card. Exporting did take much longer, but actually making the video, and you know, as students, we had time. But something I did definitely do a little bit more at university than I probably should have done is watch YouTube videos and Netflix and Amazon Prime and all of that good stuff. And in terms of actually using it to watch media, I think the MacBook Pro still pretty much is a brilliant all-round computer. One of the advantages that this also has, and it only has 2 USB-C ports, but with an adapter, you can plug this to a 4K TV. You can even go up to a 6K monitor if you're wanting to. And I think that is a really nice added benefit. I had a TV while I was at uni and kind of plugged my PlayStation 3 in, showing my age, and my MacBook Pro. And both together, I thought it was absolutely brilliant. So now, the iPad Pro. And even though I'm comparing these, I'm going to be honest, these are completely different devices. So I paired the iPad Pro with the Folio case instead of the Magic Keyboard. I did that to kind of keep them around the same price and also to make it a little bit more portable. I actually think this is probably still the best portable device that you can have, with it being a little bit smaller as an 11-inch, and the keyboard is really, really nice. The only difficulty you do have is fundamentally they are just smaller keys, which does mean it is a little bit more effort to type. Long form typing isn't really a problem, but if I was to compare the two and which one, if you gave me the option and I needed to type, the MacBook Pro definitely still wins. Where the iPad absolutely obliterates the Mac though is when it comes to using an Apple Pencil and graphic design work. Being able to use a pencil while at university, I'll be honest, would have been absolutely amazing. I love kind of writing notes and drawing, and using that in notes and in other dedicated apps would have actually been pretty much a game changer. iOS 14 is also bringing to iPadOS the ability to write to type, which again, if you're kind of a little bit more creative and enjoy writing instead of just typing, that could be something to consider. And to be completely honest, if you are going to be doing a graphic design course, I think you should just go and get the iPad Pro. In terms of its kind of the millisecond response time to Apple Pencil and Apple Pencil alternatives like the Logitech Crayon that I recently used, I would definitely recommend using the iPad Pro over the MacBook Pro. So a big part of your time at university as well is not just the work that you're doing, but also your downtime. And in terms of media consumption, both of these devices do really well, and both fundamentally in different ways. Watching kind of casually YouTube and Netflix, I actually think the iPad Pro is slightly better. Ergonomically, it just fits nicer, kind of holding while you're kind of lounging around on a sofa or in bed or kind of just, I don't know, just out and about. I would definitely say the iPad has the advantage there. But where the Mac has the advantage is that ability to connect to a TV and actually being able to scale it correctly. The iPad Pro, for some reason, and kind of hilariously, still pushes out the 4:3 when you're connecting it to an external display, which, let's be honest, just doesn't make any sense. Pretty much every single external display I've ever used pushes out at 16:9, and even with ultra-wide you're pushing 21:9, so 4:3 just looks stupid. Now, one way around it is through Apple TV, which I'm going to be honest is an expensive way to get around that. Another is Chromecast through apps, and one of the things that I actually love about Google Chromecast is it is pretty much app specific, so you could use it on your phone, iPad, and even Mac, and it pretty much costs like £30. So yeah, I'd get a Chromecast, much cheaper. And comparing them as well, in terms of the iPad, comparing this with the MacBook Pro with its use of Pro apps, I would definitely say, like I said in my full review, that the iPad Pro just is a little bit limited. The MacBook Pro can dabble and pretty much gets by with Pro apps, whereas the iPad Pro, sometimes you just can't do what you can do on the Mac. Okay, so fundamentally, which one would I go for if I was back at university? Well, I still think the MacBook Pro reigns supreme. just its overall ability, the better keyboard, the fact that it has the ergonomics of a laptop, I still think this is the product that you should pick up if you can't pick up both, which would be nice. And yes, the iPad Pro can do things better than the Mac in some ways, but overall, as an all-in-one, as the machine that's going to get you through 3 or 4 years of studies, it's still this. Okay, so if you enjoyed this video, it's something a little bit different. I've never compared two products at the same time, and hopefully might be able to do it later on this year with 2 gaming consoles. If you enjoyed it, please remember to subscribe to see more videos like this, and like, dislike, comment below. And if you have any questions or thoughts on these products, let me know in the comments below. And we'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.